All right, welcome to another exciting edition of Own Your Brand Academy. I'm Vince Trujillo, your host, and we have a great guest today. So we have somebody who's really big in the chiropractic field. We have Dr. Perry Bard with us, author, accomplished author, chiropractic business owner, and actually coach as well, correct?
Correct.
So welcome to our show. Tell our viewers a little bit about what you do, because I don't think I fully encompassed everything that you've been doing, but just give our viewers a little bit of a background on yourself.
100%. This is a real treat, Vince. Number one, first of all, thanks for having us in this incredible format that you've created, number one. And number two, this is a great opportunity to share probably or possibly one of the best kept secrets in our profession, in our business, and that is the release of a pretty incredible book called the Dr. Success Spotlight book.
This book right here. So tell us a little bit about, first of all, your background, and then what led you to trying to become an author. I don't even think you started that way originally with wanting to get that off the ground, but first you're in the chiropractic field, you're a doctor, you're practicing, and then you decide to start going a little bit down a different pathway. Lead us down that.
This was a little different because life often, as you know so well, Vince, this is really your theme, is about reinvention. And having the ability to reinvent yourself is refreshing, it's new, it's challenging, it's not easy. So yes, I started one way. I started as a chiropractor many years ago, actually 33 years ago. And when I started as a chiropractor, my vision was really simple. And that was just to help as many sick people get better naturally that I could. And fortunately, we were able to do that, and we did that for a number of years. And what we found was, in essence, a little bit of a, I guess you would call it a special sauce to being able to put our message out there in ways that other chiropractors really weren't privy to, they weren't aware of, and that was to really connect our practice to businesses. And what we found was when we connected our practice to businesses, we had this incredible, unbelievable faucet of new patients that never stopped. And it morphed into something bigger, better, more. We grew it into 4 clinics at that time. And at the same time, there was always one theme, and the theme was simple, and that is, how do we reinvent this? How do we recreate it? How do we clone it? And that, just like you, Vince, I was always a student of what works, and I was always a student of what we would always call the special sauce. In other words, why do some doctors have incredible success and other doctors just never seem to get out of the gate? Why does that happen? And so we studied that, and at the end of the day, that was the basis of this book.
Now, it's great. Before we get into the book a little bit further, you mentioned some very interesting things. Now, it's something that I've noticed just from being in the marketing field, and you touched on it in a private conversation a little bit, and it's something I never knew about: chiropractors, right? The chiropractic field in general. Tell us why. Like you mentioned doctors as like a general set, but you said some doctors, why do they succeed in business and not? Really, who are you referring to? Because a lot of medical doctors end up going, if they do, they usually go to a hospital or they go to a certain practice and they're already known from the community usually. Why do chiropractors different in the way that they got to think about how to bring in business more consistently?
You know, this was so interesting because you tapped right into this neurology like within 3 minutes of meeting you, in the sense that chiropractors as a whole have almost like another gear, or I would call it maybe another gene, maybe another chromosome, that there's almost a fire underneath their tush. Can I say tush on the show?
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, because is it PG? Because
yeah, we don't have any sponsors saying the program right now, so say what you want.
So under their tush, there's almost a heightened sense of the simple fact that it is incumbent upon them to tell everybody that they meet the 3 W's. And the 3 W's were always simple, and that is who they are, what they do, and last but not least, where they can be found. It's just part of our code. And if you do that enough times, and you do it to the right people, and you do it to the right sources, and to the right entities, you'd be amazed how quick your practice can grow. But at the same time, there's a little bit more, as always, to the story. And the story is simple in the simple fact that there are portals of entry that chiropractors have that most other doctors never consider, never look at. And we take a lot of pride in that because we're able to open up these portals of entry to bring in a host of new patients, whereby other doctors have a real challenge getting, and also at the same time not to be reliant on a medical, clinical, like a hospital setting. We do it the old-fashioned way. We earn it.
Yeah, right. So I think for a lot of people listening out there, chiropractors, and I think a lot of alternative medical fields as well, have to rely on themselves actually to bring in patients through the door. A lot of other doctors, and not to differentiate in any negative light any of the medical profession, but a lot of them end up going into hospital practice, and so they don't have to worry about where their patients are coming from. Chiropractors, other wellness, acupuncture, any other wellness providers, they have to actually think as soon as they leave school, I have to find a way to get a patient in the door. They start thinking of marketing practices, and they might. Is there any kind of schooling or background that any chiropractors go through, or is it just out of necessity that they start studying a little bit of marketing?
It's interesting because this is really a game, if you will, of awareness. And it's really a heightened sense of awareness in the sense that sometimes when you say the word marketing to doctors, to chiropractors, it's almost like it's not necessarily a word that a lot of chiropractors warm up to initially, even though we know that we're responsible for it. Not every chiropractor, I would say embraces that, and rightfully so, because at the end of the day, wouldn't it be nice to just be able to flick a switch and have a never-ending supply of new patients for the rest of your life?
Sounds wonderful.
Well, that's a beautiful thing in any business. That's true in any business. But what we found was interesting. What we found was that there are doctors right now, there are chiropractors right now that are doing things that are so uniquely different and so uniquely specialized that they're attracting a market share that no one would ever see. They're opening up doors and they're having explosive practices. They're crushing it. I mean, they're putting up numbers like that are ridiculous. Like, I've never seen numbers like this before, and they're featured in this book. And the coolest thing about it was we were able to get them to open up, or if you will, pull their own curtain back and to be able to share their unique magic. And that was one of the best parts, because we really didn't initially plan it to be a book. We just figured we'd have, like, I guess you would say, a kind of a fireside chat that was really unedited, unfiltered, unscripted, unrehearsed, unplanned, because in that natural climate, we were really able to get them to share their individual special sauce. Because let's be frank, every successful business has a special sauce. The question is, are they willing to share it?
Right. Or sometimes they may not always know exactly what it is because they do it innately.
Right.
The best do it because they're doing it intentionally, correct? So we're already talking about that. Chiropractors are a different breed. They got a different gene in them. The successful ones are even more specialized. They know what they're doing. It's really identifying the who, what, and how of their business, or why of their business, and how they're able to get that out there. You decided to start interviewing them. Before it became a book, what was the purpose of trying to interview and try to learn a little bit of the special sauce from all of these varied practices, these successful people, some of them your friends, some of them you've known or you knew in the community? Why did you want to start that?
Well, this is a great question, because I initially thought that I had this idea, and it's probably an idea a lot of fathers have, definitely a lot of doctors have, a lot of business owners have, and that is, I want to pass something on to my children. I want my children to know what I was thinking, how I created certain things in my practice, in my business, in my life, in my lifestyle. I wanted them to have really the front of the line, backstage pass, if you will, to success. So I was able to, exactly as you said, get a number of people that have had the most amazing success in this profession that I've known from day one before I was even a chiropractor. And then on the other hand, I was able to get doctors who I've never met before share exactly how they're doing their magic in practice.
Love it.
And the magic of it was the simple fact that I have two sons. One is in chiropractic school right now.
Wow,
One
congratulations.
is thank you so much. I tell you, if you would have told me that would have happened years ago, I would have said,
And he's got a leg up.
you know, pinch me. Yeah. I was never told growing up what I should do. I was lucky that way. I learned from, and I write about this in the book. I talk about the first entrepreneur I ever met was my father. And he taught by example. And he gave such incredible life lessons. And I shared them in the book about learning success the right way. And learning by action, not just by words. And so I wanted to do the same thing for my children in that fact, because I would like, you know, obviously in a perfect world, we'll live to be 100 years old, plus, and
You're
we'll be
supposed
able
to be making that happen now for us.
That's the whole idea. Isn't that what chiropractors do, man? I thought that's what chiropractors do. They extend quality of life. Well, that would be a perfect world. The reality is we know that our time is finite and it's limited. So what we want to do is we want to squeeze the juice, and I mean the real juice, out of every day, every moment, every opportunity. And I wanted them to have in the palm of their hands the gift. And the gift was really the magic that I was able to experience in my career by being surrounded by the best of the best in this business, who were willing and openly shared how they were able to run multi-million-dollar practices. And so that's one of the coolest things about it, is that now that gift to my children is now the gift to my profession and more.
Oh, that's beautiful. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about the book. So he's already given you some great insights to it. This is really speaking out to a lot of doctors. Really, this is who you're speaking out to. You're speaking out to the chiropractic field, and it's also a success manual for those of you trying to figure out what are recipes of success from people who have been very successful in very different areas and niches within chiropractic. Tell us a little bit about the doctors you have on here. Tell us some of the different fields that they're in, some of the different practices or specialties that they're in. I'm assuming some of the people who've had phenomenal success that you were just referring to are in this book.
They are. So what we did was this. What we did was we dedicated 20 chapters on 20 different subjects. And the subjects start from things such as branding, which is your wheelhouse.
Right. That's what we're starting with.
Which is incredible. Yep. Number one. Number two, Facebook. But not Facebook in the classic sense. Facebook in terms of what do you do once the lead is there? What do you do in terms of the follow-up?
So like capturing that lead and bringing them into your...
Delivering the person. I think that's such an important thing because we tend to confuse in our profession leads with actual new patients. So a new patient to us is a person, what we would always call a stay pay. A stay pay to us, in other words, is a patient that presents, stays, and pays. That's a real patient. Everything else is just a lead. Well, we have a doctor that's featured in the book that was able to do that so incredibly better than everybody else in terms of delivering that individual, which is fantastic. We also broke it down in terms of specialties. We did it in terms of the world of non-surgical spinal decompression. So if you're in the disc business, we have a doctor here featured that's doing amazing in this world. We did it on team building. One of the doctors actually has, believe it or not, 12 non-surgical spinal decompression tables actually in his practice. He did a whole chapter on building the most incredible team. We also did it in the world of what's called peripheral neuropathy, which is with patients who suffer from back pain, leg pain, numbness, tingling, burning, pins and needles, who take Lyrica and Cymbalta and Neurontin, all these bad drugs. We did that too. We also featured some incredible things with doctors. Case in point, a doctor who opened his practice first year made over $1 million. First year in practice, out of school. Wow. First year in practice, crushing it and just doing incredible. We also interviewed a doctor that really unique, actually did something, and we dedicated a chapter that's called Creating the Wow Experience. And believe it or not, he's not a chiropractor. He's actually a dentist with a 13,000 square foot facility taking care of some of the most popular celebrities, most popular athletes, people that you know, people that everybody knows. And he is incredible. The attention to detail in his practice is amazing. He speaks exactly to how he created this wow experience there. We did it with...
And I've heard of that. I've heard of the wow experience before.
It's an unbelievable thing.
I couldn't say his name, but he's in here. I know
that. He did it in such a grandiose way, but he did it so smart. And he was willing to share this in the book. And it just kept, we call it the gift that keeps giving, because there's just so many golden nuggets that are shared in the book. Product sales, we have a doctor in there that created one of the most incredible products in the profession, and it's called the Shark Tank Success Chapter of how to actually get your product all the way through, and it is just, you're going to have to read the book to see what product it is.
But well, I like that we're getting golden nuggets and hints. They're not going over all the doctors, but you can find them all in here. So really this book encompasses 20 different stories, almost 20, most of them are chiropractic, a couple of dentists, you said, correct?
One dentist, one medical doctor.
One medical doctor in private practice.
Private practice in the world of functional medicine, which is a specialty in our world. And one of my favorite chapters is the chapter on chiropractic, on how to tell the story, how to communicate better. At the end of the day, this book is about communication. This book is how to be able to communicate better. And if you can communicate better, you'd be shocked what you can do in business and in practice.
Well, at Own Your Brand Academy, we're teaching some of the basics and foundational elements that you need to learn to get your brand out there. It starts with some of these items here. I mean, they are simple as who are you trying to service, what problems are you solving for them, and how are you delivering that product to your clients. What's great about what Dr. Perry Bard is saying here is that a lot of those elements are already found in here. The secret sauce is, I believe, in probably all of these different elements is going to be that they know exactly who they're servicing, they know exactly the messaging that they're sending out to them, and they know how to deliver a great wow experience during the delivery process, correct?
100%. One of the coolest things about the book, and I asked my wife, I said, because she knew the stories from beginning, but when she read it, she said, babe, she says, this is too good. That was actually her idea to share it with others. And I said, well, tell me your favorite part. I mean, what was your favorite part of the book? I know you love the book, but what's your favorite part? And she said her favorite part of the book, and this has been echoed by so many other doctors, so many other individuals who had the opportunity to read this book, is that at the end of every chapter, what we did was we did the Cliff Notes version. So what we did was we took the 10 highlights or what we call the bullet points of each individual chapter. So can you imagine there's actually 200 bullet points of action steps, to-do steps, concepts, systems, protocols, ideas, 200 of those. And then as a special bonus, I couldn't do the book without putting in my own top 10. So then I added another 10 that's really the neurology and how this really works from A to Z. So I threw another 10 in there. So it's 210 bullet points of the best of the best.
I love it. Great manual, Doctor Success Spotlight book by Dr. Perry Bard. Dr. Bard, what do you want to see happen with this book? Who do you want it to reach out to the most? Who is it for specifically? And how can they get a copy of it?
So here's a crazy thing. Who would have ever thought, like when we grew up, if somebody said the word to us, oh, that's viral, I would have thought that's like viral. What is that, like an infection? Like, who's viral? Like, I don't know, viral. I don't know if I want it to be viral. But what happened, Vince, is this book has become viral. And what that meant was someone told someone who told someone who told someone who told someone. And we live in such an amazing age where now telling somebody is in a couple of keystrokes or on their phone. And so what we did was we did an amazing thing, which is if they go to the website, www.freebooksuccess.com, they can actually get a copy of this book. And if they pay for the shipping, it's a hardcover, 300-page book. We only printed up a certain amount of copies. We capped it. We said, that's it. But we're going to do it right. We're going to do it smart. We're going to make it first class. And we're going to put it out there. And this will be our gift. And, so far, reviews have been incredible. And a lot of the reviews are actually even in the book as well.
I love it. So one more time, the URL?
www.freebooksuccess.com.
Okay, so you Own a Brand Academy viewers right now, these people listening to the podcast, I want you to take good note of this. It is not just a book for chiropractic, not just a book for those in the medical profession, but any of you out there looking how to take whatever you're trying to do and take that first steps, and you get a first-hand blueprint from some of the people in the most successful medical fields in the United States, mostly, correct?
100% correct, you bet.
And so in the United States, making it at the top level because they took their brand, they took marketing ideas, they took determination. All kinds of success frameworks are in this book. Check it out. It's going to apply to most everyone out there. Thank you very much, Dr. Perry Bard, for being on our podcast and our video today. It was a pleasure. I really hope we get a chance to do this again.
You know, you're such a star. You really are. I wrote that in the book, as a matter of fact.
It's not in the published version of the book.
Right,
but it is
right,
in the front cover.
right. It is in the book that you are. You really are. You have a magnetic personality. You are the highlight of this experience, and it was just a lot of fun. So thanks for sharing. You bet.
Such a gift. Dr. Perry Bard, thank you again. And we'll see you all. OwnYourBrandAcademy.com. We'll see you on the next podcast. Take care and talk soon.